Burn her, they cried. Okay, the Salem witch trials. Rebecca Nurse was the richest witch of them all. She was this 81-year-old lady who had never done a bad turn to anyone in her entire life. That didn't stop the people of Salem village from trying her as a witch. So the judge who got the case, he knew that Rebecca Nurse owned a farm that today is basically the city of Danvers. There's 12% that doesn't actually line up with her old farm, but 88% of her farm lines up perfectly with the city of Danvers. And the judge just thought about that farm and he had this beautiful young daughter who was marrying this Timothy guy. And so he thought that this was like a gift straight from God to his beautiful young daughter. And he knew he was in the perfect position to scoop that farm up and give it as a wedding present to his beautiful young daughter and this Timothy guy. So the trial was rolling along beautiful, and then they acquitted her. And when they acquitted her, the judge just snapped. He knew God's intentions. God intended for his little girl to get that farm. And no power on earth was going to stop that from happening. So he forced through a second trial. And in the second trial, she was found guilty. So he calmed down. He became rational, started thinking. And he knew that if the farm was tainted with witchcraft, it would be absolutely worthless for his little girl. So he went to Rebecca Nurse and he says, Rebecca, out of the goodness of our Christian hearts, we're going to give you one last chance to redeem your immortal soul. We're going to tie you to this board and sink you to the bottom of the lake for 30 minutes. And at the end of that time, when we bring you up, if you're alive, that means you're a witch, and you'll be burnt alive upon that stake. But if you're dead, that means you're a good Christian woman. We're all very proud of you, and we'll give you a full Christian burial with all the pomp and circumstance. And so they tied Rebecca to the board, and the judge and his assistant lowered her into the water and kept her down there for a good long time. And then they brought her up. And when they brought her up, she was still alive. And she screamed something in this like ancient pre-Gaelic language. And the judge and his assistant burst into flames when they let go of the board. And the board and Rebecca on it went crashing down and back into the lake. And when the board touched the lake turned into this cauldron of fire. Everybody was screaming and running around, and a few people said they saw the judge's beautiful young daughter walking out of the lake. And so many believe that was Rebecca Nurse, and she made her way to the judge's home and replaced the judge's daughter permanently. And so who moves into Rebecca Nurse's old farm but the judge's beautiful young daughter and her new husband Timothy? And the rest of it is about the witch trail. The witch trail most of you know about, meanders around Salem. That's not the witch trail. Back then, the witch trail went from Salem Village, almost like meandering straight as an arrow, to Dark Hollow's Pond. You get any map of Massachusetts, you can still see Dark Hollow's Pond, where a lot of heavy shit happened. But we're not supposed to talk about that. But basically, that's the story of Rebecca Nurse.